So this episode is all about getting focused on our 2024 goals. So I'm going to go over some goals I set for myself last year. Then I'm going to let you know some goals I have for myself for this year. And then I'm going to let you know about my action plan that I have to help me achieve these goals. So stay tuned. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and that notification bell. Welcome to Debt Free in IT. I'm your host, Mike. This podcast is for anyone who's looking to get into the IT industry, whether it's for a career change or you're just interested. I think you come to the right place. A couple years ago, when I first started my networking role, I started looking for a way to become more efficient, as well as stay on top of my projects and something to keep me accountable when studying for my certifications. So in comes my first planner. So I think I ended up getting my first planner at Walmart. You know, it had a little goals section in it where you can write down your goals for the year, and then you can create the steps on how to accomplish those goals. After using that planner for a while, I decided that I liked it, and I ended up going online and I ordered Grant Cardone's 10 times planner. And I really liked that planner because of the way that it was laid out. And then after that year of using that planner, I was hooked. The beginning of every year after, I go ahead and buy me a fresh planner, write down my goals, and then I create an action plan on how to achieve those goals. Now, sometimes at the end of the year, when I look back at my old goals, some of them I would hit, some of them I wouldn't, but it's good to have something that you can look at and see how well you progressed on those goals during the year. This year, I got myself another planner. I got the Hibonacci planner, and I'll link it in the description. But at first, I didn't think I was going to like this planner because my other planners, they was fairly big, almost like the size of a notebook. This planner is a little bit smaller, but it's starting to grow on me because I can easily fit this planner in my jacket pocket and be out the door. So I'm able to just refer to it all the time. And then, you probably hear me say before where sometimes I'll use a planner on my PC, but holding this physical planner somehow just feels a little bit different. So it's almost like, for those of you that, if you read a lot of books, sometimes you can read it via Kindle or something, or you can read the physical book. Sometimes the physical book just feels better. So this year, I'm starting off the year fresh with a physical planner. And like I said, it's one of the smaller planners, but it's starting to grow on me. Looking at my goals from last year, some of my goals was to get the DevNet certification as well as the CCNP certification. So as you can see, the beginning of the year, I always start out swinging. I come out hard at the beginning of the year. So those was my first two goals, the DevNet cert and as well as the CCNP cert. And then some other goals that I had some goals for the podcast as of last year. I just started it up. So one of the goals I had was to try to get 1,000 subs in less than a year. So that was one of the goals I had for the podcast, and also to build a website. And then also I had a finance goal was to pay down some debt. So I'm always trying to become debt free. That's the name of the channel, Debt Free in IT with Mike. So it's pretty much my road to becoming debt free. So I'm not perfect, but I do have that as one of my goals every year, as one of my finance goals, to pay down some debt. And then also I had some health goals. Some of my health goals was to pretty much just stay consistent with working out. I always steady. I try to go to the gym a couple times a week. During a whole year, I probably miss maybe about 3 or 4 weeks. Usually holidays is what get me. But one of my goals was to get more consistent with being in the gym and working out. I ended up taking both certifications from my goals that I had last year. So I took the DevNet as well as the CCNP certification. And if you watched any of my earlier videos, you saw where I failed the DevNet certification. And I have a video coming up on how I did on the CCNP Encore, as well as a review and some of the resources that I use. Then moving on to the podcast goals. So we was able to hit 1,000 subs. And then also the website has just launched. So I'll have that link in the description. If you want to check it out, let me know what you think about it. Give me some feedback. What do you think I need to change? I'm open to all feedback and all criticism. So we was able to hit that goal. Then for the finance part, I was able to pay off some debt, but I'm still bad at impulse spending. So that's something that I want to get more intentional on this year. So I want to get, a little bit better at my finances, because I'm at the point now where when I go to the store, if it's something that I want, a lot of times if I had the money, I would go ahead and buy it. So I'm trying to get better at sticking with a budget and just being intentional and really, really looking at what I'm spending my money on this year. And then as far as the health goes, so I was able to stick to that. I've been pretty consistent in the gym, but I would still like to probably drop down a couple more pounds or something like that, get a little bit leaner, something of that nature. If you're finding value in this episode and you're watching via YouTube or your favorite podcasting app, please leave me a review or a comment. If you have a friend who needs to hear this, please share this episode with them. So moving on to the goals and the action plan I set for myself for 2024. So one of my financial goals this year is to still pay down debt using the debt snowball. And the action plan that I have for that is I'm going to try to send at least $300 extra a month towards those bills in order to get those paid off. And then I'm going to try to stop using credit cards too. So stop just using the credit cards and go ahead and get them things paid off. And then my other financial plan is I want to get a budget and stick to a nice budget. Right now, I'm kind of feeling Ramit's plan. He got a country spending plan. That's the author of I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I like his plan because it kind of reminds me of the 50-30-20 plan that I did years ago. And I was pretty successful with that budget, but I ended up still getting off track. And then also one of my health goals I have for this year is to drop down to 200 pounds. Right now, I'm currently about 235, 240. I do resistance training where I try to work out at least 2 to 3 days a week. So I may have to, try to get in there a little bit more. And then I'm going to add a little bit more cardio. Usually during the summer times, I do a lot of cardio just because I like walking outside. It's hard to do that on the treadmill. So usually wintertime, I start incorporating a little bit of jump rope for my cardio. So that's my plan on how to get down to the 200 pounds, as well as watch the way I eat. Like I said, I'm a country boy, so fried food, fried fish, every Friday, like, man, I got a taste for some fried fish. So I'm going to try to get better at what I choose to eat and what I choose to put in my body. And then moving on to my professional goals that I set for myself this year. So this year, like I said, I always start out trying to swing for the fence. I aim for the stars, So this year I want to get 3 certifications. And then also I want to learn more Python. So the certifications I want is the CCNP Encore, a Linux certification, and then an AWS Cloud certification. So most of these certifications, except for the CCNP Encore, the Linux certification will probably be an entry-level Linux certification, as well as one of the entry-level AWS Cloud certifications. So I want to get those certifications as well as get back to learning a little bit more Python. The action plan that I have for this is right now I'm tackling one certification at a time. So starting January 1st, I've been waking up roughly about 5 a.m., studying for about 2 hours on that Cisco Encore. And then I get ready and head off and start my day. So that's my plan, to wake up, study. And then if I find some time on the weekend to study, I do a little extra studying then. So my plan is to study, and the plan right now is to take a certification exam every 3 to 4 months. So if I can study for 3 to 4 months on one particular topic, like the CCNP Encore, take that exam. If I pass it, give myself about a week or 2 break, start on the next certification. If everything goes as well, next year, the year 2025, I'll be doing another video letting y'all know that I was able to hit my goals with the certification. So we'll see how that goes. Like I said, keep me accountable. I'm going to start trying to study in public. You might see some videos coming up, some study with me videos that I'm trying to film also. Moving on to some goals I set for the podcast this year. So one of the main goals is just to continue to grow and get better with putting out content. And then also just fall in love with the process. Say I'm not trying to rush anything, just fall in love with the process, just go through the process and just stay consistent with it. So that's pretty much the only thing I have for the podcast. And then if you watch one of my early episodes, you also know some things I'm trying to do with the podcast. So if you haven't seen that, please go back and watch that video. So you heard my goals and how I plan to achieve those goals in 2024. If you have any goals you're working on, please let me know in the comments. I hope you found some value in this episode. If you're on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, you can follow me at DebtFriendIT. If you have any questions, you can email me at debtfriendit.com, or you can go to the new website, www.debtfrienditwithmike.com, and you can leave a question or a comment on the website. Other than that, I'll see you next week. Peace.